Hey class, today's video is about least squares regression lines. And by the end of the video, I hope that you can calculate slope and y-intercept. I hope you can write an equation of the line. I hope you can graph that line. And throughout this video, I'm hoping to give you guys some calculator help. So let's get started. So just like my other video, I'd like you to take out a piece of paper, a pencil, and a calculator. And rather than just watch the video, I'd like you guys to try it along with me. Make sure you understand where I'm getting these numbers from, and definitely make sure you know how to use your calculator. So in this example, a history teacher asked her students how many hours of sleep they had the night before a test. The data below shows the number of hours the student slept and their score on the exam. Plot the data on a scatter plot. So we have to decide, let's imagine this wasn't here. Does the test score depend on the hour slept, or does the hour slept depend on the test score? So I think what this problem is getting at is that your test score is the dependent variable, and your test score is going to depend on how much sleep you got. So since this is the dependent, this is going to be the y. The dependent is the y. The independent, or the explanatory, is the x. So this is the explanatory. Or the independent. And this is the response, or the dependent. And we're going to graph these as if they were ordered pairs. So this first student got 8 hours of sleep and got an 83 on the test. So I already drew it out for you, but let me just show you how to do this. So he got 8 hours of sleep and he got an 83 on the test. And you're going to do that until you graph all of them. Plot all of them. So let me show you what it would look like on the calculator. On the calculator, you would first enter all of your data in list 1 and all of your y's into list 2. To get to the scatter plot, you're going to go to second y equals, and you're going to push number 1 for plot 1. In this menu, you want to make sure the graph is on. You choose the scatter plot, which is the one with the dots, and you clearly indicate where's the x and where's the y. So in my data, I put x in list 1 and y in list 2. And then choose, I try not to choose this one because it's kind of hard to read, so choose a way you want to plot your ordered pairs. When you're ready, you're going to push zoom 9. And it should match what we got by hand, and it does. Okay, so again, a way to check your work before you turn in your test. All right, so now let's say we're ready to calculate the equation of the line. In order to do so, you need statistics. And just like in my last video, I showed you how to get them. Let me show you one more time. So these are the statistics I need. To get these statistics, I'm going to go to Stat, Calc, 2. All right, Stat, Calc, 2. And then depending on your calculator, it might prompt you list 1, list 2. Mine doesn't. You just push enter. And so we get 6.8, 1.48, 79, and 10.66. Now, this is not on this screen. So we want to make sure we get this number too. The way you get that is Stat, Calc, 1. Nope, 8. Sorry. Lin, Reg. So let's try that. Stat, Calc, 8. Just push enter. And it's 0.883. Okay, so these are the numbers that you're going to need to plug into these equations. So now that we have those numbers, we are ready to start the process. To find the slope of a line, you need the correlation divided by its standard deviations, the change in standard deviation. So the correlation was 0.883 times the standard deviation of y, which was 10.66, over the standard deviation of x, which was 1.48. That comes out to 6.36. Remember, you should be pausing the video and trying this on your own. Okay, this is the y-intercept. A is the y-intercept, and that's y bar minus b x bar. And we know that y bar is 79 minus b times x bar from down here. And that comes out to 35.75. So you need two things to write an equation of a line, a slope and an intercept. And we now have both. So now we're ready to write the equation of the line, which is called the LSRL, the least squares regression line, and is written in the form of a plus bx. So I'm going to write it just like that. Here is the a. That's the a. So 35.75 plus the b. Here's the b. And x is what you're inputting into the function. So this is why we call it the independent and the dependent. This is the independent variable. We're going to plug in the number of hours slept. So you can tell me how many hours you slept. So in this function, plug in how many hours you slept, work it out, and by that equation, I can predict your test score. That's the point of the least squares regression line, is to make predictions based on the x. So you're going to plug in the x and you're going to predict the y. And sometimes our predictions aren't perfect, and that's when residual comes in, but that's the next video. All right, so we have our equation now. Our equation is y hat equals 35.75 plus 6.36 hours slept. Okay, so that is the equation of, it's kind of like your teachers might have talked about the line of best fit. This is that line of best fit. But what if we wanted to take that line and put it on the paper? So in order to do that, you need to plug in some values, because it's not really easy to go to the y-intercept and go up 6.36 over 1, like use rise over run. So what I would do is I would just pick two values, plug them into the equation, produce a y, and graph them. So I usually pick the min and the max. You don't have to do that. You just pick any 2 points you want, but I always like to pick the min and the max. So here's the min. The smallest number of hours somebody slept was 4. So I'm going to plug that in. And that comes out to 61.19. So one ordered pair is 4 hours. Somebody who slept 4 hours should have got a 61.19 on the exam. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that up here. So it's like somewhere right there. Now let's do it for another number. I'm going to use the max this time. So this was the min. This is the max. You don't have to use these numbers. I just use the min and the max just to keep it consistent. So now we're going to plug in the max. I'm going to work it out, and I get 92.99. So this ordered pair is 992.99. So graph that, 992.99. All right, so those are my two ordered pairs. Now, as best as I can, ooh, that's pretty good. I'm going to connect those, and this is my least squares regression line. This line has the equation y hat equals 35.75 plus 3.63x. So anywhere, so if somebody slept 6.1 hours, you can predict their test score. It doesn't have to be any one of these. Just make sure you don't go out of the data range. When you predict outside the data range, that's called extrapolation, and your predictions might be wrong. So for instance, if you really wanted to get a good grade on the test, you might say, oh, well, I'm just going to sleep 40 hours. Well, we know that that's not realistic. There's only so many hours you can sleep, and we know that there's only so many points you can get on a test. So predicting outside the data range is called extrapolation, and we don't want to do that. All right, so hopefully that helped you figure out how to do slope, intercept, write an equation, draw a line, and use your calculator. So if you need any extra help before the test, I'm in room 311. Come by anytime. Good luck studying.